Oh, you just fucking reminded me of something. Have any of you guys seen this? What was his name? I saw it on Reddit like a week ago, and it happened last year. A guy got fired from, I think it was like the Washington Post, because he was jerking off on a Zoom call with all of his colleagues. And then they brought him on to CNN and had him explain why he was masturbating on Zoom. So it was such an uncomfortable segment. The lady's like, "You may see we're joined by fucking Dick McButtman, whatever his name is, and you may remember he was recently fired for masturbating on camera. So what's up with that?" And then just like interview him right to his face about why he was jerking off. Jeff Toobin, was that his name? I only watched like the first 40 seconds and I was like, oh my god, this is rough. Oh god, yeah, they had him come on CNN to address it. Oh, it was painful.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Allison.
Hey, Jeff.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Hey, how's that dick hanging? Just kidding, I already know. I saw it.
Address, what's happened in the months since we've seen you, since some of our viewers may not know what has happened. So I guess I'll...
Yeah, I just don't understand why they do this. I mean, it's fucking CNN viewers. They could have just brought him back. No one would have said shit. They probably didn't even know that this man's meat came out at some point in front of his colleagues and fucking full-blown Louis C.K'd them or whatever. I don't know what they were thinking, but I'm so glad it happened. Because he has to sit here and he has to sit here and explain the masturbation for 10 fucking minutes. Like I said, I only watched like the first minute or so. It is goofy.
I'll recap. I'll do the honors.
Take it away.
Help yourself.
Okay.
Yes, please. I'm excited.
In October, you were on a Zoom call with your colleagues from the New Yorker magazine. Everyone took a break for several minutes, during which time you were caught masturbating on camera.
Yes. And I'll do it again, too.
Fired from that job after 27 years of working there.
Threw it away.
And you, since then, have been on leave from CNN. Do I have all that right?
That's a pretty good lore
Sad
update.
to say.
Okay, so let's start there.
Okay.
To quote Jay Leno, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, obviously, I wasn't thinking very well or very much, and it was something that was inexplicable to me.
It was
I think
probably
at one
exhilarating,
point,
though.
I wouldn't exactly say in my defense, because nothing is really in my defense. I didn't think I was on the call. I didn't think other people could see me.
You
So,
thought that you had turned off your camera?
correct.
Yeah.
I thought that I had turned
Naturally.
off the Zoom call. Now, that's not a
Even this guy in the back's like, are you fucking serious? You're telling me this guy masturbated on a Zoom call? What? Like, he's just now getting this information like I did. And he's shocked. Just as shocked as I was. But I do have to appreciate Toobin's work ethic. They took just a couple minute break, apparently. Like, they were on a Zoom call going over business, doing business shit. And apparently, like, all right, we're going to take a brief recess. Everyone go get yourself a coffee or something. And in the brief 30 seconds that the people weren't there, the man just whips his cock out and goes to town. Like, damn. He's about efficiency. You could say a lot of things about Jeffrey Toobin. I've never heard that name in my life. But I'm assuming you can say a bunch of bad shit about him. One thing you can't say, though, is he doesn't know how to jerk it. And he doesn't, live for the thrill, to say. Like, I have to at least appreciate that. I have to give kudos where they're due.
defense. This was deeply moronic and indefensible, but I mean that is part of that. That is part.
That
of
is
the
an alpha
story.
move.
And I
Sigma
have
Grindset.
spent the 7 subsequent months, miserable months in my life. I can certainly confess, trying to be a better person. I mean, in therapy, trying to do some public service.
What a weird... Why are you in therapy? You were the one that fucking brought out the one-eyed snake on a Zoom call with your colleagues. And I would wager... I don't know this guy. I'm not going to sit here and Reddit armchair psychologist this man. But I would wager he had to know that there was some level of danger to it. Something like the thrill is what got him horned up. There had to be something to it. But why the fuck are you in therapy? Like... Jerking off doesn't make you a bad person, but what you did does. Like, what puts you in therapy? Your fucking colleagues, based on the size of your meat, probably needed therapy. Like, he's not the victim here. I see this all the time. And I also didn't get the conclusion on whether or not he finished. I don't know if he blew his load. If I had to guess, when his colleagues came back, it was just like uproarious screams and squealing like a Wilhelm scream or something. Like, oh my god, Toobin! What are you doing? Well, put it away!
Working in a food bank, which I certainly am going to continue to do. Working on a new book about the Oklahoma City bombing, but I am trying to become
I hope
the
there's a
kind of
chapter
person
in there about
that
this.
people can trust again.
I'm sure you've replayed that embarrassing moment over and over many times. Have you ever thought about what it must have been like to be on the receiving end of that Zoom call?
Yes, and you're
I
welcome.
Just thought about it. I've spoken to several of my former colleagues at the New Yorker about it, and you know they were shocked and appalled.
As you
I
said,
think
Kevin,
they
Stepbro, and
realized
Spetsnaz.
that this was not intended for them. I think they realized that this was something that I would immediately regret, as I certainly did. And it was that day that I began apologizing, and that is something that I have tried
What a
to
hero.
continue to do, both publicly and privately. You know, we've covered a lot of political scandals, and we've heard what I like to think of as the politician apology, which is,
What does
you know, I'm sorry
politics
if you
have to
were
do with this,
offended.
though?
Which always
Unless your
sounds
dick
to
was
me
left or
like,
right
said
leaning,
the
I
words,
guess.
Now get off my back. That's exactly what I've tried not to do. I mean, I have tried, and I'm trying now, to say how sorry I am, sincerely, in all seriousness. Above all, I am sorry to my wife and to my family, but I'm also sorry to the people on the Zoom call. I'm sorry to my former colleagues.
Are you sorry to me, Jeffrey?
I'm sorry to my current,
Say I'm
fortunately
sorry to
still
Charlie.
colleagues at CNN. And I'm sorry to the people who read my work and who watched me on CNN and who thought I was a better person than this. And so, you know, I got a lot to rebuild, but I feel
I would love
very
to know
privileged and very
why
lucky
he
that I'm
started
gonna be able to
jerking
try
off
to do
during
that.
the meeting.
I mean, one of
just
the
during a
ironies
recess.
of this whole incident is that for decades you have covered the bad judgment and sexual proclivities of public figures and politicians like Bill Clinton and Anthony Weiner and Elliot Spitzer and
Still a stupid
Donald
name.
Trump, and I could go on.
Fucking Weiner.
And so, you know, of course it begs the question, why didn't you have better judgment?
Because I didn't have better judgment, because I'm a flawed human being who makes mistakes. And there is no defense for my conduct. The only issue is what should be the consequences. And the New Yorker made one decision about the consequences. CNN made a different decision, fortunately, for which I'm very grateful. But I am not going to come up here and like split hairs and try to come up with justifications or explanations.
Zoom calls are going to be a lot
As
more
long
fun
as
with
it's
Jeffrey
stupid and
Toobin
I'm
around.
trying
You
to
never
do
know
that.
what you're going to get
I
now.
do want to get to
a nice wild
what the
card.
New Yorker decision was and the consequences.
Next time he might finger his own butthole.
After you had worked there for 27 years, you were fired, they said, after an internal investigation. And in an internal memo, one of the executives there said, I am writing to share with you that our investigation regarding Jeffrey Toobin is complete, and as a result, he is no longer affiliated
Because
with
we
our
saw his
company.
cock.
Do you know what else they found?
I wish they
do,
had kept
actually. I
going.
was told very specifically by the people involved that they looked at my entire career at the New Yorker, 27 years, and found that there had been no complaints about me, no issues, no other, this was not the straw that broke the camel's back. It was just this incident. And
I don't know the guy,
was
but that seems
certainly
pretty
relieved,
hard
but
to
not
believe.
surprised that that's what they found. And but yet, nevertheless, they made the decision to get rid of me, which, needless to say, was heartbreaking for me.
So you're saying there will be no surprises
Thanks for the resub,
after this that
Yuri.
will come out?
There are no surprises out there about my conduct. That I am worried that there is there's a skeleton that's going to be found.
That's spoken like a man who still has a couple good jerks left in him on Zoom calls. Let me see. It's been a while. Has he done it again? Is he a repeat offender? What's his name? Jeffrey Toobin? Alright, let's see. He just recently tweeted with a bunch of pasta. Since we couldn't make it to the Super Bowl, we brought Cincinnati to NYC. And it looks like he's just got a bunch of pasta. Okay, alright. Pretty squeaky clean so far, Toobin. And then he keeps giving his opinion on politics. Boring. When I look up Jeffrey Toobin, I'm just hoping to see him jerking off. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's done anything since. I'll keep my eyes peeled just in case. Check X video. Yes, perhaps he's performing under another alias. Let's see. I wonder if anyone leaked that Zoom call. This is dangerous. I'm going to click on it, and I already know I'm going to regret it. It says leaked video, Jeffrey Toobin's Zoom call. I found a screenshot from the actual Zoom call. He was ass naked. Really? So they actually... Oh, okay. Hold on a minute. It's a tier 1 slushy. All right. Hold on a second. Let me see. So is this real? Let's see. Don't act like you've never forgotten to turn off your stream and yanked it on cam. Happens to the best of us. Bro, I think about that shit all the time. Not necessarily jerking off, but I always think like, what if I forgot to put my cock back in my pants after peeing? And that's the worst because then it'd be flaccid and everyone would make fun of me. But I always have that thought in the back of my mind. I've never once made that mistake in my life, but I just keep thinking, what if today's the day? Is this... I can't tell if this is it. And tweets aren't loading. Okay, let me check Twitter, and then I'll continue this. So the man really got butt-ass naked? I figured it was just like through the pants fly or something. I really like the tweet that I couldn't get to load. It said, it was like a Jeffrey Toobin whenever he gets a Zoom call or something, and I'm assuming it was him with his meat out. Hey, let me see. What would I even look up to find it on Twitter? Because right now I'm just aimlessly scrolling. See a lot of people memeing on him. Toobin meat. Toobin caught Zoom call. Toobin hot XXX. Doesn't exist, I assure you. Damn. Oh well. Maybe one day. He'll slip up again. That's the face of a man who's considering doing it right now on the CNN apology, like weighing the pros and cons. I could just jerk off again right now.
You know, I live in the world. I know social media, what the reactions are likely to be. I hope they will be at least mixed. But, and so people can claim what they want, but I don't think there is anything further that's going to come out.
Do you think, given that the punishment fits the crime?
You know, I am the worst person to ask that.
I would think you would be. Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously,
you got
I
fired.
loved the New Yorker. I loved working there. I felt like I was a very good contributor to that magazine for a very long time, and I thought this punishment was excessive. But look, you know, that's why they don't ask the criminal to be the judge in his own case. I mean, I thought it was an excessive punishment. I am incredibly grateful to CNN for taking me back. But, you know, other people are going to weigh in about whether it was appropriate for them to get rid of me and for CNN to keep me.
It'd be hard to stay employed after doing something like this.
Shows have had a field day.
Hey, you know what? How about 2 segments on Saturday Night Live about me. That's like.
Oh,
How unpleasant was that, or whatever? What was
that
it?
explains why I'd never heard of this. I don't watch
actually
that
did
fucking
not
show.
watch it.
It's trash.
I sort of read transcripts, and I guess I saw a little YouTube of it. You know, I've, you know, one thing about all this is I've never thought of myself, even when I was a prosecutor, as someone who was a particular hard ass, who was someone who was like wanted to punish everyone to the maximum extent of the law. And
obviously,
also,
I can't watch that
as a
YouTube video.
journalist, I have been aware that, you know, not every crime deserves the death penalty. So I don't think there's a lot of hypocrisy involved in a claim for leniency on my part. But it is true that, you know, people had fun with this, and I am enough a person in the world to know, you know, people were going to have fun with it.
Well, I mean, on that,
Really?
O.J. Simpson
He has that
just,
level of
like,
self-awareness?
at you.
That's pretty impressive.
And, you know, I think that it could be unpleasant to be the butt of jokes, obviously. And so I'm wondering if you think that that will somehow color your legal analysis in the future.
Fuck yeah, it will.
I really don't think so. You know, my dad used to say something. He used to say, you can judge a person by their enemies. And if my enemy is O.J. Simpson, that is okay with me.
Well, Jeffrey, on that note, should we move on to the news?
Sure, let's
No, fuck that. That's boring. Talk more about him masturbating.
California. You heard me
Yeah.
talking about that the
Yeah, get me the fuck out. That was boring. I love that they did that on air for no reason. I couldn't imagine a better situation. Hey, look who we brought. Yeah, that guy fucking masturbated on Zoom in front of all of his colleagues. Hey, so what's the deal with that, huh, buddy? Maybe he started in OnlyFans. I wish he doubled down. Like, okay, here's what you guys missed on the Zoom call, and then a link to his OnlyFans.